Welcome back to Nicolette's Comic Corner, Classics / Known Classics. This is episode number 1698 and Doubleshot number 1592. I have two Avenger trades, both from around the mid-1990s. Alright, that basic collect issues came with a period of time. First up we have Avengers Epic Collection Volume number 26, Taking Aim. Now, here's the thing about this one. This book collects issues 378 to 388. That collects also the backup features of these issues for Giant Man from 370 to 382. Also, the very first volume for The Vision, which was 4 issues, and Captain America 440 to 441. Now, as far as I can tell, I don't think I'll do any more after this one. Because, here's the thing. What comes after this one? A standalone issue and 3 crossovers. The standalone issue is 389. From 390 to 395, we have The Crossing. Yes, by far the most hated crossover. From what I heard, this one, I'm looking forward to reviewing this one because of how really bad this one is. Which involves basically someone A.I.M, which I'll leave it at that. Then we have First Sign, which I probably will cover in the future. And then finally, the story, the crossover, the end of this volume, Onslaught. Yep. This is the stuff that came just before that. Coming out in the year of 1994 to 1995. Yep. Coming from 94 to 95, we have from September 1994 to July of 1995. Yes. If you're curious though about the Taking Aim stuff, and why the Captain America issues in here, it's just a 4-part crossover between the two books. And also, if you're reading Captain America in the 90s, you would probably notice the ridiculous outfit they put him in. Yes. For some reason, they decided to have his outfit. Like, for 440, you want to show up his ridiculous outfit they gave him this book. Yeah, because apparently for some reason, Captain America is given this weird looking armor. And you think basically his 2012 look was weird. This one basically, the whole point of this crossover just basically having Captain America team with Avengers just take on S.H.I.E.L.D. That S.H.I.E.L.D. AIM. Yep, that's simply what it basically is. It's a really good story. I got handed to Mark Greenwald and the writer of the Avengers issues, which was... Let's see. The Avengers issue at this point in time was done by Bob Harris and Terry Nowak, which is kind of weird though. Like, you see Captain America's armor in 440, and then by this Avengers issue, he's back in this attire again. Yeah, no explanation for that, for why that is. The other writer aside from basically Mark Greenwald, Bob Harris, Terry Nowak is also George Perez. Yes, George Perez basically did some writing for these issues, along with Ben Rabb, Tom Bevrot, and Mike Korbach. Kenserbach. The artwork is done by Stuart Johnson, the awesome Mike D. Dow Jr., Jeffrey Moore, Mike Goofish, Mandy Clark, Angel Medina, Dan Halver, Tom Greenberg, Jeff Maceda, and John Bushma. The cover right here in the front, that's done by Mike D. Dow Jr. and Tom Palmer. The back cover, this is Steve Eppick and Tom Palmer. Yeah, Tom Palmer, guy who works on both covers. Yes, Tom Palmer is the inker. Yes, he's the inker for these issues. Now, what happens in these issues, you might ask? Also, one thing I should point out, though, like, this was the logo they had in the book, which is a really cool logo. Except from this logo here. But I like this logo. My first introduction to this very logo was actually in the Avengers Strike Vile one-shot. Which, that one-shot was a full introduction to the Avengers. Because that one-shot got me into reading the Avengers. Because I loved it so much. I read it multiple times. And I was able to check out various appearances. And basically, like, there's so much interesting stuff. It was basically like an autobiography of the Avengers' history at that point. From the 60s up until the 1990s. I actually got the book. I think it was back in like the early 2000s. Yes. Oh, and by the way, the Vision looked like this, which is kind of similar to what he looks like nowadays. Though here he's a lot more muscular than how he's originally depicted. Yep, and we have a swordsman here. No, it's not the original one. Nope, this swordsman is an alternate version of the swordsman. This is actually from the Gatherers. Yes. Now I was looking at prior to this one. I have reviewed the previous trade, the previous volume for this one, which was, I think it was Fear of the Reaper. I think it was. Yeah, I think it was like Fear of the Reaper. That was the no, it was the Gatherer's Strike. That was the last one basically. I've reviewed that one already. Yeah. And for some reason, there's not been Volume 25 yet released yet. 25, in my best estimation, is probably going to collect issues 667 to 377. Yeah, 11 issues plus whatever else. Though at least I can appreciate this for Avengers at this point in time. I know that this particular period of time has had a period of time where the artwork was not that good, but this book has really good artwork. Here's the thing: my first introduction to some of these characters, thanks to the reading stuff back in the '90s, that was some early stuff I was reading. Like, look, here's Hercules. Yes, the one with the black tank top on and the clean-shaven beard. That's Hercules. This is the Black Widow. And you're thinking, wait, that can't be possible. Why is her suit gray? It's the 90s. And also, the brown coat. The first time I ever saw the brown coat was actually in Maximum Carnage. That's the first time I saw it. It was something from the early 90s that... Here's the weird thing, though. The X-Men copy this. Yes, the X-Men, some members of the X-Men, like if you ever see that image of Rogue from the X-Men 1990 series, she wore also this coat as well. Except with A in the sleeve, she had an X. And I believe she was the only member of the X-Men who actually wore this. Actually, of two. The only person I've seen who wore this coat was actually two people. Cyclops wore it, and Wolverine occasionally wore it. It was a 90s thing, from what I could tell. Yep. This is mostly about Deathcry. That's mostly put what these issues are. These early issues, just basically about her. And look, here's Thor. And you're thinking, Thor looks a little different. I believe this was actually Eric Masterson who was Thor at this period of time. Yes. And one thing I should point out, though, about Mike Adal, compared to his 2000s artwork, he made women look so sexy and very muscular. And basically, he also made the guys suit muscular as well. This is why I'm a big fan of this guy's artwork. Heck, I love the guy's artwork. Yeah, this guy's been an artist for a long time. And from what I read, the guy is Brazilian. Yes, Mike Dale Jr. is Brazilian from what I've read. Yeah, so... It was also something here, like here's Quicksilver and Crystal. And you're thinking, okay, when did these two hook up? Was it the 90s? No, it was actually in the 70s these two hooked up. And these two had a kid together. Luna. And you might be asking, are they currently married? The answer is no. Because she cheated on him with an insurance agent. I am not kidding about that. So, Pietri found out about it and divorced her. And they fought over their daughter for years. Most recently, Quicksilver was dating the character Emily, who was actually a new character, Gary Duggan. There was some attraction to them. It seems like, though, they were going to do something with them. But the last time that Quicksilver showed up was actually his own miniseries, No Surrender. Yep, and he's also possibly creatures, which you think are the New Men. The New Men are actually supposedly Knights from Wundagore. But this one is, it said here, according to this editorial note, they're actually anti-mutants from the pages of Thor. Now, I love these things right here. These editorial notes. I kind of wish Marvel uses more often. Yeah, and then after that, those issues, they then battle Exodus from the pages of X-Men. Because of course they do. Yep, and this is before the events of Onslaught. Also, we have a guest star appearance by the High Evolutionary. And you might be asking, Nick, does he still look like this today? The answer is yes, he still does, but he's not this well defined. That's what Mike D'Antoni did with his art. With him, made him like a freaking bodybuilder. I mean, look at Hercules. He's freaking huge. Yes, but the thing is, Hercules is a god, so of course he basically is built to be so beefy. And plus, I love the fact these epic collections use the old unused artwork. And then, for some reason, I'm not sure why this is, with, let's see, with, I think it was 381 was the last time I saw it. Was it 380? Let's see here. No, it wasn't that one. Because, like, here we go. 379. This logo right here. And for some reason, I'm not really sure why this is. For the remainder of this run, and this I think is quite baffling. Started with 380, they changed the logo to this. Yeah, I'm not really sure why. If I get a chance to meet anybody who worked in the Avengers book at that point, I will ask him, why was the logo changed for Avengers? I mean, I like this one right here. I love this logo for Avengers. And as far as I can tell, this logo has occasionally popped up over the years. I like this one better than this one here, which seems so not Avengers. That's the best way I would call it. But I love the covers. Yeah, aside from the fact I don't like the logo very much, I love these covers they have for these books. These are so freaking good. Mm-hmm. Though, despite the fact that Mike D'Antoni can make... Now, here's the thing. Edwin Jarvis usually is a guy picked usually with whiter hair. Edwin Jarvis, if you don't know about the comic version about this guy, because some of you might know about him thanks to his appearance on Agent Carter, you can kind of describe this guy as Iron Man's Alfred Pennyworth. That's simply what he is. And he's still somewhat active over the years. I mean, his most recent book he popped up was in the Wasp book. Mm-hmm. Also, here's Giant Man. Yes, he dressed like this. It was the 90s, so get over it. Yeah. This issue related to Yellow Jacket. Yes. Hank Pym. I'm glad the fact they included his issues in here, because basically you ask, like, why wouldn't he? And we also have Janet Van Dyne being giant size. And you're thinking, like, wait, I thought Janet first time she did it was back in 08 for Secret Invasion. Nope, this predates that by about 15 years. And for some reason, and by the way, this artwork is not done by Mike D'Antoni Jr. Oh no, the artist for this backup feature is Jeffrey Moore, who is the artist of this one. Yeah, that's why the artwork looks so drastically different. Because this tray that says switch over this particular... I like the writing here. I'm not really a big fan of the artwork. Mm-hmm. Yeah, then we have basically 383 guest appearance by the Fantastic Force. This, of course, is the original Fantastic Force led by the adult version of Franklin Richards. Yeah, though prior to the events of Onslaught, they brought back the kid version of him for reasons. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just a lot of really good stuff here. Return of Ultron. Always good to see him. Great villain he is. Currently, he's merged with Hank Pym. Yeah, because now we switched over to the Vision issues. Yep. Which is like a PI, and one of these issues he actually makes out with Jocasta. Heck, Death. It's basically kind of like a crime noir type of thing. That's what the writer of this book decided to do. Yep, for about 4 issues. Yep. Plus, I love this logo for the Vision. I'm surprised they didn't use this logo for the Tom King run. And of course, this book features Ultron. Ultron created Vision, so why the heck not? Yep, and finally, it seems as though Mike D'Antoni Jr. did work on a majority of the artwork for the Avengers issues, which I liked what he did with this book. Mm-hmm. This book is just purely fantastic. I love it. Like I said, the only thing I don't like about this book is the change of logo and the artwork for the Giant Man issues. Otherwise, this book's actually pretty good. This book a 9 out of 10, pure fun. And thinking 90s stuff. Well, I was born in the 80s, And some of the earliest comics I basically have read were from the 90s. Next up, it is a book that a lot of people probably think I probably should talk about this sooner. Especially, let's talk about the half of this one. We have Heroes Reborn, the Avengers. Yep. This collects the first 12 out of 13 issues for Avengers Volume 2. Along with Iron Man Volume 2, issues 6 and 12, Fantastic Four, Volume 2, 6 and 12, and Captain America, Volume 2, number 12. Actually, issue 6 as well. Yep. Heroes Reborn. The thing that basically Marvel tried to reboot their universe. The first time they attempted to do this. But they did it with 4 titles. They were Avengers, Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor. This is one of them. And one of 2 books that Rob Liefeld got a chance to work on. The other was Captain America. Of course. Now this lineup is different from the typical line they had at this point. For one thing, there's no Hercules in here. No Hercules, no Black Widow. Also, we have Thor getting a redesign. This is the Heroes Reborn Iron Man, and Captain America is mostly the same. The only change they made to him was the logo on his forehead. And you're thinking, that's it? That's the only change they made Captain America? I guess Rob Liefeld must have saw the outfit. I'm like, okay, I'm not changing the whole outfit. I'll change one thing. I'll change the logo on his head from an A to this eagle thing on his forehead. Yeah, I don't know why he did that. Now, this is Thor. This is how I look at this run. And here's the weird thing, though, about this version of Thor. About 9 issues in this run, for some strange reason, the writer at this point... by the way, the writers for these issues are, get this, Rob Liefeld, Jim Valentino, Jeff Loeb, Scott Lobdell, Jim Lee, Brandon Choi, and Walter Simonson. Now, you're probably all thinking, those names sound very familiar. Rob Liefeld, Jim Valentino, co-founders of Image Comics. Jeff Loeb, most recently known for being the head of Marvel Television and a writer for such books as Ultimatum, Ultimates 3, the trilogy of Batman limited series. He worked on Long Halloween, Dark Victory, Haunted Knight, the various color books, basically Superman for All Seasons, Hulk Gray, Spider-Man Blue, Daredevil Yellow. I mean, his were good, some bad stuff. Oh yeah, also the guy behind Batman Hush, Scott Lobdell. Not surprising he worked on this book because he worked on a lot of X books in the 90s. Jim Lee, he was another guy who actually left Marvel to help form DC Comics. Brandon Choi actually was the guy who worked with Jim Lee to create the Wildcats. Walter Simonson, a guy who was frequently worked on basically Marvel. He does occasionally work for Marvel. These other names that I'm going to list off here would seem like, who are these people? And why do people work for Marvel at this point in time? Here's first one for you, Chap Yape. From what I've heard about this guy, I've never met him. He was an artist who worked with Rob Liefeld, Youngblood. Yes, so Rob Liefeld, who, by the way, Rob Liefeld also worked on the art of this book too. So Liefeld brought his artists from Youngblood to work on this book. For reasons. Next 2 names seem a bit odd. They work on Marvel because they don't work for DC. Ian Churchill and Brett Booth. Yes. Yeah, these 2... Usually people think of these guys' works. People think of their DC works. Don't think of their Marvel work. Jim Lee, obviously. Wallace Porcio, Rob Lamb, Michael Ryan, Ryan Benjamin, Anthony Wynn, Ed Baines, Terry Schumacher, Mike S. Miller, and Joe Bennett, who did work for Marvel just recently. He did the entire run of the Al Ewing run for Immortal Hulk. Drew all 50 issues. All the interiors, mind you, the cover artwork that was done by Alex Ross. This front cover artwork, that's done by Jim Lee, Scott Williams, and Alex St. Clair. This back artwork here, that's Chap Yape's artwork, along with Jonathan Silva and Alan Troy. Now, things starts off in this book, in The Heroes Reborn, with Donald Blake fighting Thor. And you're thinking, that makes no sense. Isn't Donald Blake Thor? Well, in this universe, they're 2 separate beings. My guess is Liefeld must take inspiration from the Incredible Hulk Returns movie. That's my personal guess of where you get that from. Yep. So, the Avengers have brought in. Now, here's the thing with Avengers. They are clearly established at this point. And we also see Loki appear in the first issue because, of course, Loki's got to appear in the first issue of Avengers because they did for the original run, so why not appear here, too? Yep. So, the Avengers are comprised of prior to Thor joining, before Thor shows up. We have Captain America, Iron Man, the Scarlet Witch, the Vision, Hellcat. You're thinking, Hellcat an Avenger? Yes. The Hellcat is like pretty much the way Hellcat is. It's like she's basically depicted as the replacement for Tigra. It's almost like she was playing to be Tigra. For some reason, they changed the name to Hellcat, which makes no freaking sense at all. They also joined by the Swordsman. Well, a swordsman, mind you. And I think that's it. Thor does join the group, and then he's in this book up to issue 11 where he dies. Though he later comes back in James Robinson's run Fantastic Four. That's something else altogether. And then here's the strange thing though. In issue 8, this I thought was really weird. 616 Thor pops up in this book. Yes. That guy who made his last appearance part of this in the final issue of the previous Flying for Avengers. What the heck he's doing here? I have no idea. Now, there are two cross-ups collected here. Industrial Revolution and Heroes United. Heroes United is simply the Avengers working Fantastic Four to take on Galactus. We also see the Heroes United versions of the Hulk, the Fantastic Four, obviously, and I think that's it. Oh yeah, Kang the Conqueror's here as well. Yeah, basically Loeb and Jim Lee are trying to rush a lot of popular Avengers, so like throwing Kang. Loki is only here for his couple issues. Heck, there's even an issue they feature a version of Odin. Yes, Odin pops up in here too. Yep. But this book, surprisingly, is very underrated. I do agree with the sentiment related to this book. Now, some people say that the Heroes Reborn stuff is a piece of garbage. They think it's really bad. From my perspective, I found this book pretty good. I love this. I give this one a 9.5 out of 10. And you're probably thinking, okay, Nick, you mentioned that this was the first 12 of 13 issues. Well, there's a reason for that. Why isn't 13 in this trade despite like that being the final issue of this run? The reason why it's not there is because Wildstorm guest stars in it. Yes. That's part of a 4-part crossover, which we'll discuss in the next video. Excuse me. Simply because Marvel has owned the rights to Wildstorm, they can't legally put those in trade paperback. The issues are still out there, but Marvel can't legally put them in trade. Because who owns Wildstorm? Is it Image? No, Image doesn't own them anymore. They're actually owned by DC Comics. Yes, seriously. Oh, and by the way, now this is one a couple times they've done one of these intercompany crossovers. They did one for DC, and I do agree it's not that good. Is this one better than that one? Yes, definitely. Yes. Yeah. By the way, for the Captain America issue, we even have appearance by Ricky Barnes. If you wonder who this is the version of Bucky Barnes, who she does have a 616 counterpart. Yes. You see, she's the sister of Bucky Barnes, James Buchanan Barnes, a.k.a. the Winter Soldier. Yes, though she's an alternate timeline counterpart to this one. And here's the weird thing about this character. She actually is the only character to escape from this universe who is still around. Though, for some reason, the writer of the Future Foundation book outed her as a lesbian. Don't know why, though. I thought that was kind of weird. And Liefeld did rip out this character in his, I think it was a holiday special. I think it was called, I don't remember her name, but he ripped off this character too, because a lot of his characters in his Image books are rip-offs of basically characters from Marvel and DC. The one character he loves ripping off is Wolverine. He loves ripping off Wolverine and Gambit. Yep. But now I'm going to I would do one more Comic Corner, but it's getting kind of late because I got to get to work tomorrow. So expect a total of 2 videos tomorrow. First being a review of the newest episode on time. The other will be a Comic Corner discussing that 4-part crossover with Wildstorm. And the third trade of Avengers symbol. You get my thoughts on those tomorrow, okay? Next video. Bye.